This episode of the Wayang Crew podcast is brought to you by Times Cineplex. Hey there, welcome back yet again to another episode of the Wayang Crew podcast. It's me, Kev, as usual, your host on this podcast, where we talk about all things movies, especially movies that are playing here in Brunei Darussalam. First up, it's my co-host. He's back from a hiatus. It's Del.
G'day, mate.
G'day, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I just got back from the land down under.
Oh, I like that. You came back with an accent and everything, eh?
I did. I had a lot of tuna.
Chakayui.
Yeah. I rented a car and I managed to Chakayui.
Okay.
All right. This has gone a bit far. How are you, dude?
Good to be back.
Good
yeah, it's I've been there for 2 weeks and it's 2 weeks too long. I was in Brisbane. There's not much there to do.
Okay.
Managed to catch a couple of movies. The cinemas there. There's one cinema in town. It costs $20 for a ticket. It's ridiculous.
So that's like, well, the exchange rate between Bruneian dollar and the Aussie dollar is about, it's almost 1-to-1.
Almost.
Not quite.
Yeah.
It's like, I think,
0.97.
98, 97.
Yeah. Brunei to
So that's $20. And normally we pay about $7, $8 here.
Yeah. $22 to be exact.
So that's 3 times
Yeah.
the price.
Three
How's
times.
the cinema though? Is it like better?
No.
Okay.
I mean, a standard cineplex in a big city, not like our cinema, which is not that good, but theirs definitely is better than us. However, Singapore only charges what, $12, and they are charging 22 to 24 on a weekend. But it's only one chain of cinemas, so we went to a cheaper one, which is a bit further away.
And then you have to factor in, like, if you want to get a drink and popcorn.
Yeah,
So that's like easily a $35 trip.
30?
To watch a
Dates
movie.
must
Yeah.
be very expensive there.
Yeah. All right, up next, it's the other co-host of the podcast. It's Tibby.
Hey.
What's up? Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday. My throat is itchy today. I don't know why.
Scratch it. Oh, on the
like
inside.
in the inside,
Okay.
yeah.
Scratch it with a toothbrush.
So I'm sorry in advance if I start
Oh
coughing.
man, you're giving me more work to edit, lah.
I'm sorry.
Sure.
But yeah.
All right, on this week of the podcast, we'll be giving you our review of a movie, which is a reboot of a franchise. It's Hellboy. It's showing here in local cinemas, but we'll get to that after our regular bit of the show, which is the news. Let's kick things off this week with trailers. Now, last week we got a couple of trailers. First up, we had the Addams Family animated movie trailer. Did you guys see this?
Parts of it, and then I lost my interest and stopped watching it.
You lost your interest.
Yeah, like for the first 20 seconds, and then nope. Next.
Okay.
I think this is like a teaser kind of trailer and it doesn't show much of the plot. So
Yeah.
we don't know what's going on. It's just joke after joke.
There's no story.
Yeah.
Did you guys watch Addams Family when you were younger?
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was too dark for me. I didn't enjoy it.
Well, I watched the cartoons, and then there was that couple of those set of movies that came out.
It had the professor from Back to the Future.
Christina
What's-
Ricci, right?
Christina Ricci's
Christina
the
Ricci.
daughter, Wednesday.
And also the late...
Oh wait, Christopher Lloyd played Uncle Fester.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
And the late...
Oh, I can't remember his name. The guy who played Gomez. What is his name?
Major Bison in Street Fighter.
And that was him?
Yeah.
Same guy.
Oh.
This new animated movie, it's got a very impressive voice cast. It's got Oscar Isaac, Charlize Theron, Chloe Grace Moretz, Finn Wolfhard, Nick Kroll, Bette Midler. There's like a whole list of really like big names in this, but I couldn't really tell from the trailer that we got. Yeah,
I think that's a good thing. So you don't get distracted from knowing who is voicing who, but just to enjoy the characters themselves. So yeah, like you, I couldn't tell who is the voices are.
The
from
large
trailer.
heads was throwing me off.
the large
animation.
head.
the large
Yeah.
heads or the animation style.
Yeah.
You mean?
Right.
But it's kind of in line with the cartoon series as a kid.
Christina Ricci's head was a bit large as
Oh.
well.
This week, we also got a trailer for the much anticipated live action movie that's coming out from Disney. It's their take on Lion King.
Lion King.
And I have to say, like, shot for shot, it does look good. But I don't know if I'm still not convinced whether this is necessary.
Simba doesn't look cute in this one. I expected him to be a lot more cuter. I don't know how, but just looks too real for me. I
Looks
guess.
too real.
When the teaser trailer came out, we talked about this, and I didn't like it because it was like shot for shot from the movie. But this one, I saw the magic in this one, especially the part where we see Simba growing up, like the montage.
Well, like
The three of them walking.
the
and
moon is
then-
the background.
Yeah. Oh, that was magic.
That's the Akuna Matata song.
Yeah.
In-
And when the song came out at the end, I thought it was really good.
We didn't get to see Donald Glover say anything in this trailer, right?
Nope.
Because I was waiting for that.
Okay. We do see all the regulars that we expect from a Lion King movie. We see Scar, who is now voiced by a different actor.
No, Scar is this. Oh yeah. Scar is different. Yeah.
Scar's different. It's not the same actor who's voicing it. James Earl Jones is reprising his role as Mufasa. We see but don't hear from Zazu,
Yeah.
the Hornbill. We also get, like, at the end, we see Timon and Pumbaa, who are of course voiced by different actors now. But I don't know. I still don't know because I haven't seen enough of it. But maybe when I actually see the movie, maybe I'll get pulled in. Hopefully.
I'm more interested now than
Have you watched Dumbo?
yeah. Horrible.
Okay.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, maybe if they pulled off Dumbo, this could do the same thing. But
No, Dumbo was tedious.
okay.
This is the move. This is the first movie that I watched in Brisbane.
Oh, okay. While you were there.
Because I was imagining like when they were singing Hakuna Matata, it's all colorful in the cartoon. And like I don't know how they're gonna translate it.
Hakuna Matata.
Yeah.
No, Hakuna Matata was not colorful.
Like
It was.
dancing.
It was. I just can't wait to be king. That's when all the colors came out.
Oh, like
Hakuna-
when they were eating all the grubs and whatnot.
Yeah. Okay.
And then
yeah.
it was like colorful.
Well, that's a cartoon. So
Yeah, so I don't know how they were gonna translate. I mean, imagine Hakuna Matata and then Simba eating some grub on the floor.
maybe he eats a grub and then there's like toxins in it and then he starts to hallucinate.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. So
And that's how the colors come out.
we'll see.
Oh, we'll see. Here's something that's not tedious like Dumbo. We got a trailer, of course, this week, the biggest one of the week and probably of the month until we get to Endgame. It's Star Wars Episode 9. It's Star Wars Celebration right now in Chicago in the US. And yeah, we got the trailer and the official title, which is The Rise of
the
Skywalker.
The Rise of Skywalker.
The Rise of Skywalker. What do you think this means? And did you like the trailer, Del?
No.
What does this mean? No, nothing. No.
This is a teaser, right? So, like, even from The Force Awakens, they released the teaser. The Last Jedi released the teaser. I wasn't that interested. I was more like, I couldn't be hyped when it's just a teaser without knowing anything, without seeing much of the plot. This one, though, few things which I really object. So, first one was the laugh at the end, signifying that Darth Sidious may not be dead. But if he comes back as a force ghost, that's fine. But if they're gonna bring him back, that means the end of episode 6 was not as great.
Yeah,
as,
it's not as impactful.
not as impactful
to the story.
Yeah. And
But they did bring someone else from the dead before.
but we're talking about Darth Sidious. I know you're talking about Darth Maul.
Yeah.
Darth Maul came back in the cartoon, so I'm kind of prepared for it.
Okay.
But Darth Sidious was evil incarnate, and he died. He had to die at the end of 6 in order for Luke and Vader's relationship to really kind of come together. And now he's back again. Why not bring back Darth Vader as well then? There's also talks of them revisiting a broken down
Death Star.
Death Star.
Yeah.
So again, J.J. Abrams is doing another Death Star. I'm okay with The Force Awakens, how they did the episode 4.
Yeah.
You know, like the main plot of it. It was fine because we're bringing back Star Wars for the first time. Now, J.J. Abrams is going to bring us into another Death Star. It's like going back to the original trilogy again and bringing back Darth Sidious. There's a Death Star. Why are we not moving forward instead of going backwards? And then the title itself, Rise of Skywalker, like he's dead. Why are we rising Skywalker again?
Maybe it's Rey.
Whatever it is, okay, because we don't know what it is yet. So all these things are just the initial reaction I have towards this trailer, and it is like moving backwards to the original trilogy. And they don't have to. So all these things are making Rian Johnson look like the person who is forward thinking instead of backward thinking.
Because
he's driving the story forward.
In actuality, it seems like Rian Johnson was the one that was willing to take a
more
different
risk.
route.
Yeah.
It's like let's move the story into a place where we've never seen it before.
Yeah. By the end of this trilogy, The Last Jedi might be the best of. And that would be.
That hurts.
Yes, that would hurt.
That hurts.
Yes.
What did you think, TV?
I like Rey a lot.
Okay.
And she's a lot. There's a lot of Rey in this trailer, so I'm looking forward to that. But there was one thing that I don't know, because the end where we hear the laughter, it sounded a lot like Mark Hamill. To me.
Yeah,
to me.
I was gonna say that it kind of sounds like Mark Hamill.
So
okay,
yeah,
but then it's not because the actor came out and
but it could still be a throw off.
I see what you mean.
Yeah, like people. Oh, it's not Mark Hamill. It's the guy.
Skywalker rise from the dead and become a Sith Lord.
See, that could be a thing.
I love it. If it is this direction.
So lots of Rey, and then they laugh at the end. I thought it was Mark Hamill, and I feel like it could be him laughing at the end.
Could be. I like that theory because the Force and Star Wars in general has always been about balance, right? It's always been about balance of the Force. So if there's any good, which is like the Jedi, it's always, there's always the balance and their counterparts, which are the Sith. That's what we've seen so far in all the trilogies. And we lost Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi. Mm-hmm. So what if there was no more space for another Force ghost and he had to go over to the dark side because it's like, dude, there's too many of you. There's Qui-Gon Jinn and Yoda in your... I guess I gotta go left.
Yeah, because maybe he doesn't like how things are going, then he turned.
People don't like the title Attack of the Clones. I was okay with it. This Rise of Skywalker seems like the worst title out of everything that we've had.
It kind of feels like they're pandering to the fans.
Yeah.
Hey, don't worry, the Skywalkers are still part of Star Wars.
It's so unnecessary. The first two movies, The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, it sounds nice, and then it's 3 words. And this one is like The Rise of Skywalker. So long, such a mouthful.
Skywalker's back, baby. There you go. Those are your 3 words. But we'll have to wait and see because this movie is scheduled to come out at the end of this year, 2019. I'm sure we'll get at least 2 more trailers. Whether or not that would help Dell's decision on whether or not he likes his movie, we'll have to wait and see. I, for one, am excited now. I mean,
I just hope Finn is more useful in this next movie because the previous movie he was just, what was the point of him?
He went gambling. So
yeah, but without that scene,
it doesn't.
Didn't matter. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
All right, let's wait and see what happens there. Since we're talking Star Wars, that's Disney, and up next, of course, the biggest movie that is to drop this year is going to be Avengers Endgame, and there's a lot of theaters around the world, but mainly in the US, that are showing all the MCU movies as a marathon. You can do all 22, 23 movies now back to back. You start off from Iron Man and you sit there for, I don't know, what is it now, 40 something hours? Yeah. There's been a couple of channels online on YouTube that have taken up the challenge for, I think, Age of Ultron and Infinity War, and you get a nice medal and you get free passes to watch all of them. You were expected to buy this gold ticket which lets you watch the whole MCU. One theater chain is offering these MCU marathoners shower stations because it's getting so long now. Each movie is averaging about 2 hours.
Yeah.
And if you have 23 movies, that's 46 hours easily. And then you end up with Avengers Endgame. That will be the last movie after Captain Marvel.
By that time, they'll be very tired.
Do you think? Yeah.
I don't know.
I wouldn't want to put myself through that.
I don't think I can.
I'm picking which movies to watch before watching Endgame.
Oh, well, obviously Infinity War's got to be in there.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure about Captain Marvel though. It's not an essential watch before.
No, well, we can't Oh, yeah, we can. It's still showing in the cinemas.
Yeah, it is. Speaking of Avengers Endgame, a lot of talk has been going around because of the runtime, which has been confirmed to be 3 hours and 2 minutes. Now, we've sort of talked about this off the air on how we're going to strategize. No drinks for that
Right.
for that show. Maybe bring a drink, but only drink after the
1
first
hour.
hour and a half, so that by the time you have to go, the movie's done. Paul Rudd has some advice for those who need a bathroom break. And his is kind of like what I was saying to you the other day, Tibi, which is buy like the popcorn.
Yeah.
Eat it quickly, and then if you have to go, well, use the popcorn container.
Right.
That's not going to work.
I'm not Ant-Man. I can't shrink.
Oh, that's useful. Does
Wait.
that mean the volume also decreases if you shrink down to that size?
Well,
Probably.
if it didn't, how would
Yeah.
that work?
Yeah.
Huh.
There was
That's useful.
there was an interview with Paul Rudd, one of the late night shows, and it was like, "Where were you in this trailer?" "Oh, I was in it. I was just very small. You couldn't see me in the trailer."
Makes sense.
Well, they were talking with Captain Marvel.
Okay, let's switch universes here, and Guillermo del Toro, who we'll be talking about a little bit later on the show when we give you our review of Hellboy, he is returning to the world of Pan's Labyrinth.
What?
Yeah.
Never watched.
To do a sequel?
He is collaborating with New York Times bestseller writer Cornelia Funke, who is more famous for this other trilogy. And he says that he is going to write an epic dark fantasy novel, Pan's Labyrinth, The Labyrinth of the Faun. So he's going to be working with a writer to come up with a novel.
Oh, so it's not movie.
Yeah, it's not a movie, but what are the
Right.
chances that he's actually going to take that novel and turn it into a movie?
If the novel sells well, then maybe.
Yeah,
But if the novel doesn't sell, nobody's read it.
I think he should just focus on Pacific Rim 3.
Sure, I'm all for it. After what we got from the second one,
But
no.
then if I'm thinking about it, if nobody buys the book, nobody read it, he may just do a movie instead to recoup the effort he's put into the book.
That makes some sense. Yeah, I can
so
see him doing that.
A movie is definitely coming then. Moral of the story. In conclusion,
There's no two buts about it. There's gonna be a movie. Here's something that was teased, but then has been, confirmed to not be happening. It's Jackie Chan, and he released like a photo of him and Chris Tucker,
Yeah.
and the internet was ablaze with, "Oh my God, it's Rush Hour 4, it's coming." Personally, I couldn't be bothered anymore.
yeah. Who's the one who said, "Oh my God, a rush"?
I think I've outgrown it, but apparently it isn't happening. It was just a
Yay.
photo, and the JC Corporation, which is Jackie Chan's company in Hong Kong,
Yeah,
put out
but-
a statement to say that no, it's not happening.
Why would they do that? Like put their
Yeah, this is the Deadpool test again. They are
Oh,
testing the
yeah.
waters. See how many people say, "Oh my God, Rush Hour 4 is coming."
Apparently, not enough people said that.
Yeah,
So
so
it's
it's,
like,
not
nope.
coming.
3 was not great. It was okay, but I've only watched it like once.
Yeah.
There was a Rush Hour series,
Yes.
Yes.
and it didn't do well.
No, it did not do well.
Is it still going on?
No, I think it got
It
cancelled.
got cancelled after like the first season,
First
right?
season.
Okay.
All right, Mighty Mouse. Do you guys know of Mighty
I
Mouse?
Yes.
vaguely remember.
Mighty Mouse and Friends.
Here I come to save the day. All right. There is going to be a live
Oh,
action,
God.
live action animated hybrid
My
film.
God.
And it's in the works at Paramount.
Who asked for this?
Because they saw Pikachu is going to do well.
No, but this is a live action / animated hybrid. So when I hear this, I'm thinking Roger Rabbit. I'm thinking Space Jam.
Yeah. It's like Detective Pikachu as well.
Detective Pikachu is like the characters
Full
are full
life.
CG.
CG and live action.
Oh, but this is animated.
Animated and live action?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's like Space Jam.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's like Space Jam.
Well, that's what I think of. But
That's so weird.
I know it's weird, but Mighty Mouse, really?
Are they enough 40-year-olds to ask for this?
Yeah. No, they are not.
Oh, okay.
It's not even relevant. Kids these days don't even know what Mighty
Mighty
Mouse
Yeah,
is.
they don't know what Mighty Mouse is.
Who's gonna do the song?
I don't know. Skrillex.
That would be great.
What?
I can't beatbox
Nice.
to save my life.
Oh, that was a beatbox.
That was supposed to be a beatbox. We talked about this movie, Bill Murray's upcoming zombie film, The Dead Don't Die. It's something I'm kind of excited for because it is a star-studded cast and it's Bill Murray, and he's always good to watch on the screen. That movie will be opening at the Cannes Film Festival. I don't think they're aiming for like a blockbuster release kind of thing. They'll open it at Cannes, probably get the word out there, and then use that hopefully as like a way to let people know, like, look, this movie is actually decent. Do we really need another zombie movie?
Yeah, I was
that's
about
my
to say
question
that.
to you.
A zombie still a
Do
thing?
we really need movies?
Yes, we do. I'm still waiting for the Power Rangers 2 movie.
I, for one, think that the zombie movie craze has sort of run its course.
There is a new Netflix
Yeah, there's-
series.
Yeah,
new Netflix series.
the
Zombie.
Korean one, right?
No.
This
It's
is
American.
Oh,
It's very Walking Dead.
Yeah,
I-
but
I-
it's based on the World War Z
World War Z.
universe,
Yeah.
so they're a lot faster.
Oh, they can run.
I think so.
All right. Don't get me wrong. I like a good zombie movie, but I think that we've just gotten so many zombie things in the last like 10 years. Is this something that's just going to keep sustaining itself with something new
Zombie will never run out of fashion.
as long as they have
But nothing can
brains?
beat Train to Busan.
I'm thinking.
I am thinking too.
Okay.
You're right.
Yep.
Sure. Train to Busan.
Epitome of
Zombie
zombie
movies.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. Okay, here's something that I want to get your feet on. Tomb Raider. Apparently, a sequel is already in development at MGM
Yep.
and Warner Brothers. And
I'm not looking forward to it.
no,
No. After the
would
first one,
watch it. I would watch it.
I mean, if it does come out, I would watch it, but I would have a very low expectation of the movie. After the first one came out, it's so disappointing.
I mean, don't get me wrong. We bashed this movie on this podcast
Yes.
in our review, but
I didn't.
but I will have to say that Alicia Vikander's portrayal
Yeah.
is good.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
a good Lara Croft. It's just that it's a sad thing the story
The
didn't
story was.
serve her performance very well. I'll watch another one. I wouldn't say no to that.
I think you deserve another try, just like Hellboy.
We just need one to break the curse of the video game
game?
movie curse, right?
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
I'm thinking.
You
No,
think-
Prince of Persia was a good one. I still like that movie.
Really? Because Jake Gyllenhaal hated it, and he was the star.
yeah, he was the prince.
He was the prince.
I
And
don't know.
because he's not from Persia.
All right. Last bit of news on this episode of the podcast. Chris Hemsworth apparently has joined the Jay and Silent Bob movie reboot.
Oh.
Now that's happening because Kevin Smith has been very forthcoming with his reboot. They finished principal photography and Chris Hemsworth put out a Instagram post with Kevin Smith saying, you know, it was fun and it's good to be hanging out and I'm so stoked with you joining the cast of this reboot. I'm like, wow, that's kind of cool. What if he doesn't have a contract to play Thor anymore and he's like, hey, Kevin Smith, you have a job for me?
I don't think that would be his conversation starter,
No,
because he is in Men in Black.
that is true.
I'm
And
sure
it's,
they were the one who reached to Chris Hemsworth. We
No
got
wonder I didn't see him in Australia.
Yep,
He's
because
busy filming, right?
Because he's always in Australia.
Does he even live
He's-
in Australia anymore?
Yeah.
Oh,
if you,
yeah,
If you look at
yeah.
his Instagram
Yep,
account,
yep.
yeah.
Did
he's
you
in
meet
Australia
Nicole
a lot.
Kidman?
I don't think Nicole lives in Australia. Wait, did she
I think
move
she
back to
does.
Australia
I think she does.
I don't know.
There was
with
a-
her husband?
Yeah, the rock.
Keith Urban?
Yeah.
Keith?
I don't know.
I never looked them up, so I don't know.
Oh, wow. Okay. Like, open up the phone book. Why don't you? All right. So that's the news this week on the Wayang Crew podcast. And up next, we have a very, very special report from our co-host who is all the way in Chicago. For Star Wars Celebration. We recorded this interview with him off the air, but we'll cut it into this episode. We'll be joining you right after this. How are you doing all the way there, Khai? And how is the atmosphere there at Star Wars Celebration 2019?
Hey Kev, hey guys, it is absolutely insane. It's good to hear from you guys. I've been at Star Wars Celebration since it started. This is the first time Celebration is going over 5 days. We're getting it from Thursday up until Monday, which is very interesting because usually it goes for 3, maximum 4 days.
Okay.
The celebration this year is taking place at McCormick Place in Chicago. It's the biggest convention center in America. And I think it's kind of fitting because we have quite possibly the biggest crowd at any celebration ever. I think the last number that was released was about 70,000 people are attending this event over the weekend.
Wow, that's a lot. Yeah.
And I'm sure you guys can hear the buzz all around me. It has been absolutely insane. It is surprising that they chose Chicago because it is freezing outside. As I'm talking to you guys, it is snowing. It is actually snowing, and I'm experiencing snow for the first time in my life. So it is, yeah. So it's pretty crazy.
So it's just like half that, I guess.
Yeah.
So what do you think would be the biggest reveal of Star Wars Celebration 2019 so far?
One of the most interesting things about this celebration, because this is my second one. I was at Orlando 2 years ago, and the interesting thing about this one is that they didn't allow fans to sleep overnight or camp out, which for a lot of people was integral to the experience of celebration itself, but I don't particularly mind. So they did a lottery system where you had to participate in lotteries in order to watch the big kind of panels. And obviously on a lot of people's minds, the biggest panel is episode 9. But there's also The Mandalorian, which we just wrapped up the panel about an hour ago. There's also a very big reveal on Disney's side for Galaxy's Edge, which is their theme park, which is Star Wars based theme park that will be in Disney parks across America within the next few months.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also a very, very fun Phantom Menace 20th anniversary panel that will be taking place tomorrow, Monday, which is the only big panel that I was able to get live seating for. So which means I'll be in the main room during the panel.
Nice.
The other smaller panels of interest was the Hasbro panel, where they revealed the upcoming Black Series and Vintage Collection figures. There's also the Rebels Remembered panel, which is a tribute to the Rebels TV show from Dave Filoni that took place yesterday. Today, I'm trying my luck at the latest Clone Wars revival panel. So it's going to take place in about 2 hours. So I'm going to make my way to the stream stage for that. So a lot of there's also a lot of smaller panels, but I think these were the main ones that people were talking about. Off the bat, I think the world went nuts with the panel for episode 9.
Yeah, so did we.
It's I watched it on the stream stage. It was insane. They had Billy D. Williams come in as Lando Calrissian, which was confirmed, but to see him on stage was something else entirely. There was Daisy Ridley, Naomi Ackie, John Boyega, Yuna Suotomo, who plays Chewbacca, Oscar Isaac, and Kelly Marie Tran, along with Kathy Kennedy and J.J. Abrams. Curiously missing from stage was Mark Hamill, which was quite surprising for some of us because, you know, they didn't announce he'll be back. And then they went on to play the trailer. It was pandemonium. I can't describe it. When that opening scene with Rey on the desert played, I think everybody was just holding their breaths as Luke narrated the trailer. And the trailer was very beautifully shot. The cinematography is amazing. Collectively, there was a lot of screaming in the audience. Some people got goosebumps. I know the entire hall fell silent, and there were some tears when Carrie Fisher's scene came up. I think her passing is still affecting a lot of people. But the biggest reveal of the trailer is the end when Palpatine laughs. That one, I can't tell you guys how much it affected the crowd. People started screaming. Some people, their jaws were metaphorically on the floor. It was nuts, guys. I myself, I couldn't believe what I heard because, okay, so here's the thing. Because of the sound quality, I was at a part of the room where I heard one bit of, I feel like I heard a different field of sound, and my friend heard a different field. I swear I thought Luke Skywalker was laughing. I thought Mark Hamill was laughing because it sounded like a Joker laugh. And then my friend said, no, it was Palpatine. And our doubts, and obviously before our doubts could be answered, they revealed the name, The Rise of Skywalker. And immediately people started speculating. You know, there was screams of Anakin, Luke, that maybe Rey is a Skywalker. People were speculating, but before all this, the stage went red. And then Ian McDiarmid, who played the Emperor Palpatine, Darth Sidious, in the original and prequel trilogy, came on stage and said, in his Emperor voice, he said, roll it again. And I think that was confirmation that the Emperor is definitely coming back. And it was just insane. And then they played the trailer again, and people have been speculating non-stop as to what the Rise of Skywalker means. There's a company here who got the exclusive rights to sell Rise of Skywalker t-shirts. And they've been selling out all day. They're expensive, but they've been selling out all day. So the hype for Star Wars Episode 9 is very real, extremely real. It's crazy. Intense amounts of speculation, and then eventually the cast took the Star Wars Celebration stage for interviews, and I believe it was J.J. Abrams during an interview who said that he personally sought out help from George Lucas in ending the saga, which I think is perfect because that was the man who started it all. So that was crazy. Episode 9 is going to be absolutely bombastic.
That's amazing. Apart from that, there was something about The Mandalorian.
Hot on the heels of that episode announcement, we had The Mandalorian about an hour ago. I wasn't able to get into the panel, but I saw the sizzle reel, and I have to say, this looks something that's completely not Star Wars, but at the same time, very Star Wars. Because I say this because it looks like something HBO would be able to play. It looks like this underworld crime saga, and it's got such a nice aesthetic to it. Pedro Pascal plays the Mandalorian. His name's not been revealed. In the sizzle reel, we see him hunting something, looking for something like a Western. It feels like a Western at the same time. This crime Western TV show. And it's got such a diverse list of directors. It's got Bryce Dallas Howard, Deborah Wall, Taika Waititi, Rick Famuyiwa, Jon Favreau. It's been crazy. I was very impressed with what I saw. It showed a lot of designs that were similar to things we've seen in the original trilogy, but at the same time it was very new. As we all know, it takes place a few years after Return of the Jedi, so it's a new timeline that we've not exactly explored. And it looks very interesting. Pedro Pascal has a swagger in the way he walks that is kind of like a cross between Boba Fett and Han Solo. And I'm really digging it. It's like it's a space western. I think that's the best way to describe it. It's a space western, and it looks absolutely amazing. I have to say, I'm very impressed with the way it looks, and they gave out really cool posters for the show after the panel, which I didn't get, but it looks amazing. I'm very excited for The Mandalorian, and I think we're in for some really good Star Wars content in the next couple of months, I would say. I have to say, Mandalorian looks amazing.
All right, nice. There were some other things that we saw on the web. I think there's a video game that's coming out.
Another big announcement coming out of Star Wars Celebration is the much anticipated new video game, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. The thing I can tell you guys about this game is that it's honestly it looks very intriguing because it's a first-person fantasy game. Basically, you play a Jedi character called Cal Kestis, who's being voiced by Cameron Monaghan. I think audiences would know him as Joker from Gotham.
Oh, okay.
So the story is set a few years after Revenge of the Sith. It basically involves a Jedi Padawan who survived the Purge, and he's in hiding until he has to use his powers. It looks amazing. It's from EA and Respawn Entertainment. EA, of course, is adding this to their portfolio after Battlefront, and it looks like they've really listened to the fans and given the fans what they want. So that one's coming out in October or November. I'm sorry, it's slipping my mind right now, but it's coming out towards the last quarter of the year. And it honestly looks amazing.
Yeah.
Another very interesting fact that I just discovered at Star Wars Celebration, I don't know if it's been announced before, is that the action figure release day for new Star Wars content, which is globally known as Force Friday, falls on October 9th this year. And it will be simultaneously taking place about 22 countries across the world. Nearby Brunei, it'll be in Singapore. But what's very interesting is that this year it's being called Triple Force Friday because it is the launch of merchandise for The Mandalorian, Jedi Fallen Order, and Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker.
That's a lot.
This is the first time since Disney's takeover of Star Wars, we'll be getting merchandise for 3 big licensed factions of Star Wars in one day. So that's very interesting to me, and I'm honestly thinking about just flying off to Singapore to buy merchandise because how else would you celebrate such an auspicious year for Star Wars?
Yeah, of course. Let me know. I'll come with you.
No, for sure.
Apart from that, what else can you tell us that's been happening at Star Wars Celebration?
So we also saw the Clone Wars panel today, and I have to say Clone Wars is a fan favorite series that has bridged a lot of gaps between Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, and Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. And it abruptly got cancelled a few years ago, but now this original team is back for a 12-episode run that will be exclusively on Disney+. And they showed us a trailer, and based on what I've seen on the trailer, it looks amazing. It's gonna tie up the story really well. They're gonna do 12 episodes, and one of the most interesting things they said was that Darth Maul, who we last saw in Solo, will be making an appearance, and his outfit is actually closer to what he wore in Solo for the purpose of continuity. And the most interesting thing about Darth Maul this time around is that all his lightsaber fights were done by Ray Park. So they put Ray Park in a motion capture suit, and then they had him do the fights, and we saw a bit of the fighting, and it honestly looks amazing. So I think Clone Wars, again, is some quality Star Wars content that we'll be getting this year.
So that was our interview there with Khai, who's all the way in Chicago.
Sounds excited.
Yeah. Does sound very excited.
Yeah.
We should go
Yeah,
too.
we should go someday.
Yeah,
Well, the next one is in 2 years, right?
Yeah, time to save money.
So we can go.
we can.
We can.
So we are bringing the Wayang Crew to Star Wars Celebration in 2021.
Yeah.
Now that you've said it, we have to do it. All right, up next, we have our review this week, which is a movie that is showing here in Brunei cinemas. It's Hellboy. It's a reboot, and it stars a different Hellboy now. It's David Harbour, as opposed to Ron Perlman, who played the first iteration of the character in the first two movies that were directed and brought to the screen by Guillermo del Toro. I liked the first two movies, I guess.
Yeah.
I liked the first one better than the second one. I didn't like the Golden Army.
Really?
Yeah, I
thought
preferred the first one.
Oh.
Like an origin story kind of thing. I prefer Ron Perlman's portrayal of the character. I think he's more of a weathered Hellboy in a way. But although this David Harbour version is kind of good, what did you think the story was? Let's go to Del.
So it's not an origin story, and right off the bat we see who he's gonna be battling, and it's the evil witch played by Nimue. Yeah, played by Mila Jovovich.
She's still hot.
Yeah,
She's so hot.
sure. And but then that's not the whole story. Right? It took a while to get to the end to fight her to even know of her existence. So in the first half, it's just Hellboy, or introducing Hellboy to the audience, and to figure out who this new Hellboy is. It's different from the Guillermo one, and then the relationship with his father. Then we also got to know the world of this secret society kind of thing, where the father is also in it, and they are there to stop. What is it called? Like it's like a
Osiris?
The BDRP.
Osiris. What does it stand for? The
Bureau of...
Bureau of something.
The one that
department.
hunts ghosts in this universe.
Yeah. Monsters. They hunt
yeah.
monsters, right? And then they Hellboy found out about Nimue and have to kill her because
Okay.
she's going to
Reborn the world.
Unleash her plague against the world and
Oh, yeah.
claim it for her own.
That's right. I forgot.
Yeah, so this movie starts off with a bit of exposition giving us the origins of Nimue
Yeah.
and how apparently it was King Arthur who killed her and made sure that she could not unleash her plague upon the world. Now, this movie, I mean, I'm not going to be very kind to it at first, but I will say right up top now that it's not like a horrible movie. It's not as bad as a lot of the online reviewers are saying.
Right.
I, for one, think that this movie is okay.
Watch it on HBO.
Yeah, but
That type of.
but there were some parts of this movie that really bothered me, especially on the third act of the movie,
Right.
where they tried to bring the story full circle, which we'll reveal in spoilers.
I know where you're going with that.
Yeah, which we'll reveal in spoilers. But this movie, if it's any indication, this movie at this point has only earned about $4.9 million in the box office in the US.
So sad.
It's a projected budget of $50+ million.
I don't think we'll get a sequel.
Depends on China.
Yes, it depends on China.
And they like this type of movies.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, look, it's Hellboy.
Monster.
Timmy, what did you think of this movie?
It was just an average movie. Forgetful. I mean, it's not really that memorable. I lost interest in some parts. There was too much talking. I was expecting more gunfights because I thought his gun is cool, but they preferred to focus more on talking and him fighting his dad and trying to explain what he actually wants. So I wanted it to be more action.
So it wasn't exactly your cup of tea.
No, yeah.
Okay. And I say tea because this movie takes place primarily in London, in the UK. I thought this movie was a good attempt at a reboot.
Yes.
They may have been trying to squeeze a little bit too much in this movie. I mean, the story itself is coherent. Like, there's a start, middle, and an end. The end bit was the one that bothered me, like I mentioned, because they tried to make it relevant to the beginning, to join those two things up. And it's a big sticking point to me. And we mentioned right after we watched this movie last night, like, we're going to check with Khai to see whether this is the actual origin. Like, did this ever happen? So it's so Del knows it's not. So they made this weird creative decision to link up Hellboy to a very prominent figure in history, and it just doesn't work for me. The other stuff that did work for me were the other monsters in this movie. We had that pig monster dude. I can't remember his name.
Oh,
Yeah, he worked very well as like a tool for Nimue, I guess.
Yeah,
because he had his own motivations, and we understood why he was doing it, because he wanted to get back at Hellboy. And Baba Yaga was actually really scary.
Yeah.
Like, Baba Yaga scared me.
I don't know. It felt like the CGI in this movie wanted it to be a bit of a cartoonish monster, because
no.
the monsters weren't that frightening. It was just the pig monster reminded me of Ninja Turtles type
Bebop.
CGI.
Bebop,
I don't know.
So,
Rocksteady.
Rocksteady. So it wasn't scary. He was just strong. I wanted to be like, they wanted to make it an R-rated, make it scary. Don't try and make it like childish.
Well, the R rating here was more for language and gore.
Yeah.
Which we got. Yeah.
I thought the design of this Rocksteady was okay. It fit.
This Rocksteady.
Yeah. And the monsters at the end, in the third act, the monsters that came out to terrorize the city, those were...
That was okay. Apart from those monsters, they were just like cartoonish for me.
Those monsters actually were reminiscent of Guillermo's work in creating monsters. I thought, whoa, that looked like something from Pan's Labyrinth.
Like
even.
from the mind of Guillermo.
Yeah. So I thought they were paying homage to Guillermo as well. I liked the movie. Between the second and the third act, things kind of slowed down and I don't know where it's going. I think this movie is 2 hours long and it's like 15 minutes too long. But apart from that, I was okay because action-wise, everything is okay. CGI, it looks good.
Even with when Alice was summoning the spirit?
Alice was summoning
the dead spirit through her mouth.
Oh, that one was a bit weird, but
the head looked like it was out of place.
Yeah.
So
that's very minor. So I was okay. I mean, the main thing is that the tone of it kind of fits into the character of Hellboy. It's a bit weird and a little over the top, but also sometimes cheesy, but the right kind of cheese, like mozzarella instead of cheddar.
All right, so you've heard from us about Hellboy. Del liked the movie. Tibi and myself, we're on the fence about this.
Okay.
This is like an average thing. It's not something we tell people to rush out to cinemas to watch.
Rush out to cinema to watch.
All right. It's 2-1, Del. Let's move into spoilers. Now, I'm going to start this section off because what I mentioned in the non-spoiler section of this review is that I don't understand why they had to link up Hellboy to a very prominent figure in history. And now, I mentioned this figure, and it's King Arthur. And in the beginning, they do explain that King Arthur, with Excalibur, was the one that decapitated Nimue and made sure that she was powerless by forcing his people to bury her in different parts of the land. Now, this whole movie is her just getting back together, like getting back the different parts of her body to regain her powers to unleash her plague. They had to link up Hellboy to King Arthur. And this is something I don't understand why they had to do it, because Hellboy in itself is the spawn of hell.
Yeah.
He originally was supposed to be the destructor of the human world. And through his father, that changed. Like, he became a force for good. Like in the previous movies and in the comics, I imagine. Why they made that creative decision to make him a descendant of King Arthur is beyond me.
because of the sequel. They're going to do a sequel whereby it's the sword that is going to make his horns come out again. And he's going to use that as one of the tools to destroy his main antagonist, which I don't know who it is. I forgot. But they could have easily not used King Arthur and Merlin. They could easily use somebody like random. But then I think the significance of using Excalibur as the sword that can decapitate Nimue. So maybe that's why they went for it. And then they're going to use that sword to explain the powers that he's going to have later on. I'm guessing this is why.
We were actually laughing when we found out Merlin was still alive.
Like the whole bit about them going to look for Merlin, and then he conjures up Excalibur from the water, and I was laughing. TB will attest to this. Me and him were the only ones laughing in the cinema.
Yeah,
I believe.
Because it was so ridiculous. And there'll be another reason why I was laughing later on when we get to Untitled Liat. But I didn't understand why they made that decision. Like, he does not have to be the descendant of King Arthur. And the way that they even mentioned it was, it's King Arthur who never had a son, but his secret daughter's daughter was
married to the devil.
Married the devil and would visit the devil. And there was a ceremony, and that's how Hellboy was born. I'm like, no.
Made sense to me.
I don't know. It's just ruining King Arthur's legacy to me.
Well, King Arthur again is one of those open
license
that you can use.
It's in the public domain.
Public domain,
so everyone
right.
can,
But that scene with King Arthur or with Merlin, the one that I don't agree is, why is there a time limit to lift the Excalibur? Like that did not make sense.
Because he used the last of his magic to conjure up Excalibur.
Sure.
Wasn't it because by 12 midnight, Nimue could already summon all the plague?
Yeah.
But it wasn't a time limit on 12 midnight. They said that they have to get to her before she takes back her blood from that tree.
Yeah.
Which they ended up being.
Yeah, which ended up being
was
close to like midnight.
Yeah. How would they know midnight?
Because it's in the prophecy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess midnight is when the moon is highest.
The what?
Yeah, some parts didn't make sense.
But I like the jokes in this movie. Like all the jokes work. Like especially when
David Harbour.
Daisio.
Oh, Daisio.
Oh.
Who is he's like the British part of the BRPD.
Yeah. Why they got him, I don't know, because his British accent does not sound
They needed an Asian guy.
I guess, yeah.
It was supposed to be that guy who...
Ed Skrein?
Ed Skrein. He declined after the backlash and said, look, this is an Asian character. Why are you casting a non-Asian character?
Yeah.
Oh, because it's originally an Asian.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But the joke he made about when he got the gun that could kill Hellboy, and he said the guy who gave him the gun said you have to aim for the heart or the brain, and he said right, it's the heart because his brain is too small. I laughed.
Okay.
I loved it.
You loved it. He turns into this cheetah thing.
Yeah, a leopard.
A leopard thing. Sure.
See, the CGI for the leopard looks too cartoon-ish for me.
Yeah, that one was a bit clunky, huh?
You know what he reminded me of? He reminded me of King from Tekken.
Oh yeah.
Reminded me of Lion-O.
Okay. But Lion-O is a lion.
I know, but it just...
Chitara is the...
It's like a cat family, I guess.
Thundercats in general.
Sure. David Harbour's performance, I think he is the best part of this movie.
Yes.
He really is.
Yes.
He shines in this role as Hellboy.
Yep.
Now, I mentioned up top that I kind of prefer the Ron Perlman portrayal of this character, but both kind of work because they're both different. Like Ron Perlman's is a bit of like don't talk to me. I don't want to talk to you.
Yep.
This one, he's a bit more vulnerable.
Yep.
Like he has daddy issues.
Yeah.
It's like you should be like playing baseball with me and stuff. And that's
But
like
Ron Perlman one also had daddy issues, no?
he did, but this is more prevalent.
Right.
Like David Harbour's portrayal.
I feel like he is more witty than Ron Perlman.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Ron Perlman is like a bulldozer, and this one is a bit more of like a.
Right.
You know, he's got a bit more sensitivity and tact, I think.
I'm with you guys, stop shooting me.
Yeah, that was in the trailer, and that was still funny. All right, so I guess that's our take on Hellboy. It's not a great movie, as per TB and myself, but Del thinks it's awesome.
I didn't say awesome.
He liked it
He liked it.
more than us.
It is still showing here in local cinemas in Brunei, so do check it out if you are a fan. I mean, overall, it's okay, but I wouldn't rush out to see this. And let us know what you think of this movie.
I'll give it
You will give it
7.5
Whoa.
Excalibur out of 10.
That's not bad, actually.
That's very generous.
I thought you are forgetting this part
No.
of the.
Not yet, no.
Oh, okay.
I was just sort of like, telling people like, look,
Right.
the ratings that we're about to give it
Oh.
are not reflective of how you should feel about this movie.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I jumped
Hit and
in
miss.
too early.
Timmy, what do you give this movie?
I give this a 5.5 Ugly Fairies.
Ugly Fairies.
Ugly fairies.
Okay.
They're beautiful on the inside.
Sure.
I will give this movie a bit lower than Timmy's. I'll give it 5 transforming men into like cat-like creatures. Because as I said, this is like an average movie for me. I'll give it a 5. It's fine for what it is, but don't get your hopes up. It's not gonna blow your mind away.
If you like Excalibur, you would like.
All right.
I don't know.
I'll tell you more about Excalibur in Upper Liat Liat, which is our next bit of the show.
Oi, apa liat-liat? Apa liat-liat? Hoi, 看什么看？ Apa liat-liat?
Apa liat-liat?
那看什么看？
Apa liat-liat? See what see? 笑了。
Yep, that's right. It's Upper Liat Liat, and it's what else we have been watching besides Hellboy. And I'll start off, and I'll tell you why it's funny to me. Why I was laughing so hard. I did not mention this last night to you, TB. I watched this week The Kid Who Would Be King.
Ah.
It's that movie that we talked about a couple of months ago, and it stars, Patrick Stewart is Merlin in this. And yeah, it's the whole Excalibur thing, and
Yep.
Merlin's in it. And when I saw it in Hellboy, I was like, what? Are you kidding me? What are the chances?
My reaction when I saw Excalibur in Hellboy is like the same reaction when I saw it in Transformers.
Okay, so you loved it.
That was
I hated it.
that was bad. That was
That
bad.
was bad.
No, you loved it. So the Kid Who Would Be King, it's a good movie. It's like one of these movies that we used to watch in the 90s. Like, it was a very feel good kid movie about this kid who apparently has a lineage to King Arthur. And then obviously it's the apocalypse and it's coming, and he has to fulfill his role.
He's Hellboy in this.
Well, he's not Hellboy. He doesn't have a gun, or
Okay.
he's just a kid from school. I say go and watch it if you can. It's out on digital at the moment, so do check it out. I also checked out Twilight Zone.
Ah.
Okay, there are 3 episodes out of the Twilight Zone. It's Jordan Peele's take on it. Now, we of course just watched one of his movies, Us. This iteration of the Twilight Zone, it's very Jordan Peele. Like, oh my god, it's
So dark.
It's dark, it's twisty. The first episode will resonate very well with us because it's an episode called The Comedian, and it's about a comedian, and I'm like, I feel that way sometimes
Yeah.
when I'm up on the stage. So they're up to episode 3 now.
I'm gonna wait for all because my quota for horror movies. I'm gonna save it.
But it's not exactly horror. Some of it's like
Suspense.
just weird, like
Okay.
because you end up in the Twilight Zone, and this story is from that zone, and you're like, oh my god, like nothing is what it is, and it just changes. It's not scary by any means.
Just messed up.
It's messed up. Yeah, that's what the Twilight Zone is all about. That's about it from me for Upper Liat Liat. Del, Upper Liat Liat.
So in the past 2 weeks or 3 weeks, I've seen most of the movies that came out in cinema except Pet Cemetery. Oh, okay. So one is giving me a thumbs up, one's giving me the.
It's alright.
I saw Shazam. I really like Shazam. Shazam's one of the best ones. I saw Us. Us was bad. Us was disappointing. Like the logic, there's no logic behind it.
Yeah, you're
like
right.
why you have more whys questions
Exactly.
at the end of the movie. Saw Dumbo. Dumbo was. I saw Dumbo and it was disappointing as well. Like, this is a Disney movie that remade its animated movie.
Into live action.
Yeah, and it's so bad.
Should have just
It's,
left it alone.
Is it Tim Burton?
Tim Burton.
Tim
yeah.
Burton, huh? All right.
So this Tim Burton is kind of in a phase where he is making movies for kids, because as an adult you will ask a lot of questions like why, and Tim Burton doesn't give you that answer. Like, you just have to accept what he puts on screen, and that's just not gonna work.
It is what it is. Like,
Yeah, it's
fine.
Accept
it's-
it. No questions.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah.
No wonder there's not a lot of marketing for this. What else? I saw Sherlock and Holmes on the plane. And
Sherlock Holmes.
Sherlock and Holmes.
Yeah, the Will
Oh.
Ferrell.
Hey,
yeah.
Sherlock and Holmes. Sherlock and Watson. Holmes and Watson.
Holmes and Watson.
Holmes and Watson. Yeah,
It's bad.
it's terrible.
It's terrible. It's really bad.
Like the first half an hour, I laugh. After that, no more.
it got tiring.
Yeah, it got
actually
really tiring. It got stupid.
Yeah, you're right.
It was supposed to be a stupid movie, but then it just got to
Too
a point
stupid.
where it is so stupid that even stupid, it's not entertaining stupid.
This movie makes Dumb and Dumber look smart. It kind of does.
Sure,
It's
yes.
So ridiculous. Anyway, TV, apa lihat?
I started watching Our Planet on Netflix.
Oh, yeah, on Netflix.
It's interesting. I mean, I don't really watch documentaries, but it's very fascinating on how Netflix got a crew to take videos of nature and doing its thing.
Well, you do know it's the same crew that did Planet Earth.
I've never watched Planet Earth, so this
Oh.
is my first time watching this type of genre. If you like geography, I guess, or biology in general, or wanting to know more about how the world works, I guess this is interesting to you.
Yeah, it is. It is
Yeah.
quite interesting.
Speaking of documentary, I also saw Free Solo. I think it's the movie that won Best Documentary in Oscar. This year's Oscar.
What's it about?
Free Solo is about this guy who climb
El Capitan.
mountains. Yes.
Yes.
Climb mountains without any safety measures.
Yeah.
It's really
Yeah.
good. It's really
I
good.
actually saw that. Like in the beginning, they told the story about how they went on an expedition and they were taken hostage. Was that the one?
No.
No, this is a different
No,
one.
this is a documentary about
Oh,
this
documentary.
guy.
Okay.
Yeah. This
But he
guy
did
who-
got taken hostage in real
yeah,
life.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, he did.
He did, but not at El Capitan.
Yeah, not El
somewhere.
Capitan. Like
Oh,
he and his
okay.
girlfriend at the time.
Yeah.
And then they actually had to save themselves by pushing the guy off the cliff.
Off the cliff.
What?
That was-
How is this not in the documentary?
Yeah.
Because it's not for that.
Yeah.
That
Did-
that wall.
It's not for that rock face.
Okay.
But
Okay.
in real life, the guy who
Yeah.
climbed El Capitan,
Yep.
and it took him like I don't know, like 4 or 5 days or something like that.
Oh
right?
wow. Okay.
They were taken hostage. I can't remember where
I
for the
don't
life of
remember.
me. And then they were walking along this ridge high up in the
Cliff.
mountains, and he had to make that decision: like, do I become a hostage and follow this guy, or do I
Right.
take the opportunity and push him off and kill him and run? So he made the latter choice. And when he came back to the US,
Yeah.
he was sort of hailed as like, "Oh, you're a hero," and this and that. And then he had like a lot of issues
Mm-hmm.
dealing with it because like he killed someone.
PTSD, yeah.
Yeah. So that is the same guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
So okay. So that's the episode this week, I guess, for the Wayang Crew podcast. We will be trying to record something special this week, which is our first ever commentary of a movie. So yeah, it's something that you can listen to while you watch along with us. And we're not going to tell the movie, but the clue is the sequel is coming out in 10 days.
It.
It's
It.
Sure.
The movie. It.
IT. So that's the episode this week. Next week, we'll be probably giving you a rundown of Infinity War on our road to Endgame, which is coming out on the 24th here in Brunei. And yeah, we'll see you on the next episode of the podcast. This is Kevin signing off. I'd like to thank my co-hosts, Del and Timmy. We'll see you next week. Bye.